Yeah, we back. We back. Now today, man, we're going to be talking about the wives and the children of the Haitian revolutionaries. I know we always talk about the brothers, but in today's video, we're going to be talking about the lovely ladies that was riding with them and the children they had together. And we're also going to talk about what happened to their children, right? Like when the children grew up, what happened to them? What was their fate? I noticed we never really talk about their children, and they had a whole lot of them. I would think if you collect all the children that Toussaint had and Dessalines had and Christophe had, it would probably be about, gotta be at least 30, 40 kids, at least. Like, yeah, at least 30, 40 kids. Could have been even more than that. Who knows? So yeah, man, I'm not gonna go through the life story of every single one. Number one, we don't even have information on every single one. And number two, that would just take way too long. But we're gonna talk about the most notable and those who we do have information and documentation on. Now, of course, number one, we're gonna jump straight into the family tree of Dessalines, right? Dessalines, big time player, like I told you before. He had a lady, he had a girlfriend in every single city, every single commune, every single neighborhood. The ladies back in the day was going crazy for Dessalines, man. The ladies back in the day, the panties was dropping when it came to Dessalines. They never seen nothing like it before, man. When Dessalines came around, listen, hide your girl, bro. Hide your wife, hide your girl, because she gonna get snatched. Now, anyways, let's jump straight into it, man. Take a look up on the screen. Dessalines was married to Marie-Claire Heureuse Félicité Bonheur from the city of Léogane. The wedding celebration took place in the church of Saint Mark, and Toussaint Louverture was the witness. Marie-Claire was the empress under the 1805 Constitution, and she has been credited with the concoction of the independence soup. She was older than her husband and died when she was 100 years old. The couple had a total number of 16 children, including Dessalines from previous relationships. Innocent, one of his sons, named Innocent, has a fort named in his honor. Dessalines offered one of his daughters to General Alexander Pétion in an attempt to relieve the racial tensions on the island, as Pétion was one of the most prominent mulatto figures. But Pétion refused under the pretext that she was in a relationship with Chancy, one of Toussaint's nephews. Now, time out. Now it says that Pétion had denied the request or the offer from Dessalines to marry his daughter because allegedly she was already dealing with one of Toussaint's nephews. Now, this is simply my opinion and my analysis. I'm of the belief that the real reason why the offer was rejected by General Alexander Pétion was because Dessalines' daughter was most likely a dark-skinned black African woman, and due to the fact that he was a quadroon, I believe that he was trying to maintain the hierarchy, which was common during that time. That's why he went on to marry Jude Lachenette, who was also, a quadroon type of woman like he was, right? He married his reflection. So that was common during that time. So yeah, I think that's the real reason why. But anyway, let's continue. Dessalines had two brothers, Louis and Joseph, who also later took on the surname Dessalines. Two of his brother's sons became high-ranking members of the post-revolutionary Haitian government. So yeah, due to the fact that them boys had a lot of kids, a lot of their descendants, they became high-ranking members of society. I believe Dessalines had a great-grandson that became president. Christophe had a grandson that became president. And I believe I spoke on that in previous videos. But anyway, let's continue. Take a look up on the screen. His nephew, Raymond, son of his brother Louis, became Field Marshal Monsieur Raymond Dessalines and was given the title of Baron, Baron de Louis Dessalines, on the 8th of April, 1811. He served as aide-de-camp to King Henry Christophe, was member of the Privy Council, and was Secretary General of the Ministry of War between 1811 and 1820. He was member of the Royal Chamber of Public Instruction between 1818 and 1820. He received the degree of Knight of the Order of St. Henry on the 1st of May, 1811. He was killed by revolutionaries, not revolutionaries. They were not revolutionaries. They were traitors who were backed by the Southern Republic of Haiti. Take a look up on the screen, right? Because after the death of Dessalines, I spoke on this before, the nation was divided into two governments. The Kingdom of Haiti to the north, under the rulership of King Henry Christophe, and the Republic of Haiti, the Southern Mulatto Republic, to the south, right? So when Christophe died, the Southern Mulatto generals supported an insurrection that overthrew his administration, and they took over his territory, essentially taking over the entire country. And within that revolution or coup d'etat that occurred, Dessalines' nephew, Raymond Dessalines, he was killed, and many other high-ranking dignitaries of the kingdom were killed, including Christophe's remaining children, Christophe's right-hand man, Baron de Vasti. I've read on my channel books that was written by Baron de Vasti. He was also killed during that coup d'etat. A lot of people died. A lot of notable figures, a lot of honorable Haitian men died when the Southern generals marched into the north and took over Christophe's kingdom. A lot of honorable black men died during that time. It was a very tragic time for the black man when Christophe's kingdom, was abolished. I have many videos talking about Christophe's kingdom. Go to my playlist section, knock yourself out. I also got to finish an audiobook too. I was reading an audiobook that was written by Baron de Vasti, written back in 1814, 1815. I got to finish that. Anyway, let's continue. Take a look up on the screen. Dessalines' nephew, Joseph, the son of his brother of the same name, became Field Marshal Monsieur Dessalines and was given the title of Baron also, Baron de Joseph Dessalines, in 1816. He served as Chamberlain to Prince Jacques-Victor Henry, the Prince Royal of Haiti, and Major of the Grenadiers de la Garde. He received the degree of Knight of the Order of St. Henry on the 28th of October, 1815. Now, as you can see, after the death of Dessalines, Christophe took in a lot of his children, right? In fact, one of Dessalines' daughters got married in the capital of Christophe's kingdom in 1817. So as you can see, a lot of Dessalines' children took refuge in the kingdom of Haiti to the north after the death of their father. And many of them became high-ranking dignitaries that became part of the ruling class in Christophe's kingdom as well. Now let's continue. One of Dessalines' daughters, Princess Marie-Françoise Célimène Dessalines, born in 1789, was never married, but she had a daughter with Captain Bernard Chancy, who was, like we mentioned before, one of Toussaint Louverture's nephews. Yes, indeed. Take a look up on the screen. Another one of Dessalines' daughters, Princess Celestine Dessalines, twin with her brother Jacques, was married at Cap Henry, that was the capital of the Kingdom of Haiti, on the 10th of April, 1817. And I can't remember the video, but I had read a newspaper from over 200 years ago that actually spoke about that wedding ceremony back in 1817, where Dessalines' daughter got married to a gentleman by the name of, what was his name? Pierre Daut or something like that. Pierre Daut. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Another notable member of Dessalines' family tree was his son, César Jacques Dessalines. And it is alleged that he had this son with one of his famous mistresses by the name of Euphemie Daut. And I believe I did a video speaking about her way back. I can't remember the name, but it had to be over a year ago. But anyways, let's talk about Euphemie Daut, one of Dessalines' most famous mistresses. One of many, but his most famous. Take a look up on the screen. Euphemie Daut is a rather mysterious woman who wielded incredible power in Haiti in the early 19th century. Nothing is known of her origins. She enters the history books around 1805 in Les Cayes, a seaport in southern Haiti, where Euphemie braved flying bullets to tend to the wounded during Jean-Jacques Dessalines' military campaigns. Dessalines had been born into slavery and became the leader of the revolution. He was the first ruler of an independent Haiti and was later renamed Emperor Jacques I. Stories of Euphemie's fearlessness soon made her a minor celebrity, and she personally tended to an ill Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who had by then heard of this remarkably daring woman. After Dessalines recovered, she joined him throughout his other military campaigns, gaining recognition and respect for her compassion while caring for wounded soldiers. Euphemie was also a composer and choreographer and is well known for a dance known as carabiniere. Although Dessalines had many other lovers, he reportedly had a woman in every city. Euphemie is considered his most influential paramour. The relationship was public knowledge, and she even had letters printed with the text, "The friend of Jacques, His Majesty Emperor of Haiti." Euphemie was also granted an allowance that was so large, the director of state properties demanded that Dessalines decrease the amount, which he did so. Now listen, you see, Dessalines is my guy. But one thing, one asterisk he got by his name was, the big homie was dipping into the state coffers to trick off on his little, listen, you was bugging out for that, big homie, you was bugging out. Let's continue. Euphemie Daut hosted salons, which also doubled as a way for her to spy on the military in southern Haiti, and remained Dessalines' most loyal companion until his assassination in 1806. Now, I mentioned this before in previous videos, but in the final months leading up to his death, Dessalines had some suspicions, especially coming from the southern regions of Haiti, from the Southern Republic of Haiti that broke away and became the Republic of Haiti that later marched into the north and took over Christophe's territory years later. He had some suspicions that the Southern military was plotting on his life, so of course he used the women in his inner circle, like Euphemie Daut, to spy on the men down south, to gather intelligence on the men down south, You know what I mean? Dessalines was famous for that. He did the same thing against the French as well. He used a bunch of different women to infiltrate the camp of the French, you know, women of the night, sex workers, prostitutes, to get in to infiltrate the French camp, things like that. So, you know, Dessalines definitely utilized the power of women when it came to, you know, maintaining his power, when it came to gathering and maintaining his power. Now, on one hand, you could say that the allowance that Dessalines was giving her, you could kind of say that was pretty much in the interest of national security, right? Because she was functioning as an intelligence agent for the government. So you could kind of say that she was being paid for her services in a way, but you know, it was still tricking off. Anyway, let's continue. Now let's get into Toussaint Louverture, right? The family tree, the background of Toussaint Louverture, his wife, his children. Toussaint Louverture, just like Dessalines, had a whole gang of kids, had a whole bunch of kids. Unfortunately though, a lot of his kids didn't live to adulthood. They died early for various reasons. Obviously, you know, being born into slavery, living during the colonial period, you know, probably not the best health care and nutrition and, you know, living conditions. You know, even if you're a free man, probably not the best living conditions. Anyways, let's continue. Take a look up on the screen. Suzanne Simone Baptiste Louverture was the second wife of Toussaint Louverture and the dame consort of the French colony of Saint-Domingue. The youngest child of Toussaint and Suzanne, Saint-Jean Toussaint, was affected by the death of his father and died in 1804. His wife, Suzanne, underwent torture from French soldiers until Toussaint's death and was deported to Jamaica, where she died on May 19, 1816, in the arms of their surviving sons, Placide and Isaac. Now, yes indeed. Yeah, them white boys from France damn near tortured that woman to death for no good reason. She didn't do nothing to nobody. She was known as a sweet woman, you know, give you the shirt off her back, you know, cook you a nice plate of food, you know what I mean? Just give you love and care and, you know what I mean? You know, love and affection like our elders would, you know, like any elder black woman would. But, you know, them boys from France, they didn't care nothing about that. You know, they damn near killed that woman, you know, damn near beat her to death. Anyway, let's continue. In 1802, Charles Leclerc's troops, that was Napoleon Bonaparte's brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, French General Charles Leclerc, captured her along with her husband and the rest of her immediate family. The family was transported to Bayonne, where they were placed under the supervision of General Ducos. Under one account, Suzanne Louverture was tortured and mutilated by French soldiers who unsuccessfully sought information about her husband. Now, listen, brothers, that's why you got to get a rider. You know, you got to get a black woman that's a rider. So even when an enemy come and, you know, damn near kill her, she's still not gonna snitch. You know what I mean? They were breaking her bones, beating her down, breaking her arms, cutting, you know, ripping her toenails off, man, you know, breaking her wrists, you know, just really torturing that woman, man. Really could have killed that woman. But even through all the torture and the pain, she never snitched. She never confessed. She never gave up any information about her husband, man. Never gave up any information about her husband, man. You know, she never took the stand. You know, she never took the stand. She never said a word, man. Let's continue. Take a look up on the screen. Placide and his brother Isaac were sent to France in 1797 to be educated. A large crowd gathered to see them off, for they were popular on the island. In February of 1802, Placide and his brother arrived back on the colony with the troops of the French General Charles Leclerc, after Napoleon Bonaparte had given orders to expel the siblings from France. After Toussaint Louverture's family was captured and their house was pillaged in the summer of 1802, they were sent to France into imprisonment. Placide Louverture was separated from his family upon the August 1802 arrival in Brest on the French coast and was sent on board a ship. He was not informed that his father was to be removed until the evening of the day that Toussaint Louverture had been taken away. Previously, he had sent the following letter to his father, which was later found under Toussaint's pillow. It read this. This is what Toussaint Louverture's son Placide had wrote back in the summer of 1802, right before the war really heated up. He said, "My dear father and mother, I am on board the ship. As yet, I am ignorant of my lot. Perhaps I shall never see you again. In that I do not accuse my destiny. No matter where I am, I entreat you to take courage and sometimes to think of me. I will send you news of myself if I am not dead. Give me news of yourselves if you have an opportunity. I am very well situated. I am with persons who are very good to me and who promise to continue so. Isaac and Saint-Jean, do not forget your brother. I shall always love you. Many kind thoughts to you all. Embrace my cousins for me. I embrace you as I love you. Your son, Toussaint Louverture. Now, take a look up on the screen. I believe this is a photo of Toussaint Louverture, and this is a photo or a portrait of Isaac Louverture. And I believe after the death of their father, I believe both of them settled in France and, started families in France and things like that. I believe their descendants probably are still in France, still to this day. Who knows? Anyway, let's continue. In his biographical notes, memoir of Toussaint Louverture written by himself, Toussaint writes from prison about his wife of many years. He said this: I am separated from all that I hold dear in the world, from a dearly loved wife, who I fear, separated from me, cannot endure the afflictions which overwhelm her, and from a cherished family, who made the happiness of my life. Now, let's jump into the family tree of King Henry Christophe, General Henry Christophe, King Henry I. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, bro. As we all know, Christophe was not born in Haiti. Christophe was actually born in the British colonies, and he ended up on the island of Haiti as a very young boy. And then he ended up under the, ownership of a French naval commander, a French captain, French Navy commander or whatever. And take a look up on the screen. Christophe fought as a child soldier in the American War of Independence before serving in the Haitian Revolution as one of Toussaint Louverture's top generals. Following Haitian independence, Christophe crowned himself King Henry I. Christophe was to become Toussaint Louverture's second in command during the years of Haiti's revolution, and he began his life as a soldier during the American War of Independence. Now, I would say that Dessalines was actually Toussaint's second in command. You could say Christophe was the third in command because Christophe was Dessalines' second in command. So, it went, Toussaint was number one, then Dessalines was number two, and Christophe was number three, right? Those are the top three most powerful black men on the island during the revolution, right? Now, yes, his entire life, Christophe spent his entire life as a military man. I mean, he started his military career at the age of 11, 12 years old during the American War of Independence, right? When the Americans was fighting for their independence, Christophe was, he was down in Georgia, he was down in Florida, he was down, he was down south. He spent his teenage years in the southern United States. As we already know, the French had assisted the Americans in their War of Independence. That was one of the allies during that time that was helping the Americans in their war effort against the British. Now, let's continue. After the American Revolution, Christophe returned to the colony of Saint-Domingue, where he is reported to have worked as a billiard maker, a mason, a sailor, a stable hand, and a waiter. He also managed a hotel restaurant in Cap Français, the capital of the colony, that served the wealthy French slaveholders from the surrounding plantations. Now, also, another way that Christophe amassed wealth early on in his life, because Christophe, by the time the revolution started, Christophe already, he already had money. He took the money made that he would generate working at the hotel, and then he went on to, buy and sell horses along, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, back and forth on the border regions. That was one of Christophe's, early, businesses, early enterprises, buying and selling horses. Even when he became king of Haiti, he always had a crazy collection of horses, and the best horses in the whole island. You know what I mean? The best horses, the most beautiful horses. Christophe was that guy. You need a horse? Yeah, Christophe. You know what I'm saying? That black dude up north. Yeah, in the capital. Yeah, he got them horses. Let's continue. Cap Français, that was the capital of the colony, served the northern plain of sugar plantations. Christophe, whose political sympathies always aligned with the urban classes, saw the workings of the plantation economy firsthand. He saw the vast trade in sugar and slaves that took place in the city. 2/3 of the world's sugar was processed in Saint-Domingue. The plantations themselves took a huge toll on human lives. Some 18,000 slaves a year were sold at the slave market near the harbor. Christophe found his way into the military when he was enrolled in the city militia in Cap Français. The city was beset by disputes between Republican commissioners that supported revolution and white racists who had access to weapons and their own militia. In 1793, Christophe and the defenders burnt the city rather than surrender to the racists. Christophe joined the Revolutionary Army and quickly rose through the ranks. His great skill was as an organizer rather than a battle commander, although when called upon, he proved himself to be courageous and determined. Now that's crazy. They said Christophe burnt the capital to the ground back in 1793, but he also burnt the capital to the ground in 1802 when the French had sent all those invading warships. And that was when Christophe's name began to emerge on the international scene. It was like, man, you heard about that black dude who burnt the capital of the colony to the ground in Saint-Domingue? Listen, Christophe's name was ringing bells back in those days, man. You know, all the brothers' names was ringing bells, though. All the brothers' names was ringing bells. Let's continue. Now, let's talk about Christophe's wife, you know, the Honorable Queen Marie-Louise, the Queen of Haiti from 1811 to 1820, the spouse of Christophe. You already know we got to put honor and praise on her name. You know what I mean? Listen, if you're a black man, if you could find a woman that's half the woman that Queen Marie-Louise was, or Dessalines' wife, Marie-Claire Heureuse Félicité Bonheur, or even Toussaint's wife, Suzanne Baptiste Louverture, if you could even find a woman that's even a fraction of those women, bro, you got a diamond, you got a gem on your hand, you got something special on your hands, man. I'm telling you, if they could only be 30% of those women, I'm telling you, you got a gem on your hands, bro. You got a diamond on your hands, bro. These were some of the greatest black men to ever touch the soil of the planet. And these were their wives. These were the women they decided to put in the passenger seat. So you can only imagine the caliber of women they were. It wasn't a game, man. It wasn't a game. Let's continue. As you can see, her spouse, Christophe, King Henry I of Haiti, her firstborn son, Francois Ferdinand Christophe, her daughter, Princess Françoise Améthyste, Princess Anne Athénaïre, and her youngest son, Jacques-Victor Henri. Now, let's get into it, bro. Marie-Louise was born in Cap Français in the days of its glory. Her father was a publican, and his inn flourished under the high-sounding name of Hôtel de la Couronne. Now, a publican, I believe, is somebody who owns a hotel, somebody who owns a pub, somebody who owns, you know what I mean? That's basically what they mean. Basically, somebody who owns a hotel, because that's what it was. Her father was a free black man, you know, free black man, free mulatto man, but, you know, free black man who owned a very luxurious and prestigious hotel in the capital of the colony. And Christophe actually began working there after he came back from the American Revolution. He began working there in his late teenage years, and he actually rose up the ranks to where he began managing it full time, right? Because he was, you know, dating the boss's daughter, and he was able to secure his freedom through military service in the French army as a teenager. So if the revolution didn't break out, Christophe probably would have became a free black man with managing a hotel. So, Christophe was destined for success. Either way it went, revolution or no revolution, Christophe would have been a very elite black man. Let's continue. One day during Marie-Louise's childhood, there came a new possession into the Quadavic household. A boy slave about 12 years old. He had been brought from a French naval officer in the fleet of Comte d'Estaing, which had put into the harbor of Cap Français. This boy had been born on the island of St. Kitts. He had endured the same life as all slaves, 6 years of naked freedom and then work. At 7 years old, he had been apprenticed to a mason kept on his master's estate. 5 years he worked at this, and after effort showed he learned the trade well. It was hard work, however, and at the age of 12, he ran away. Or to be more exact, he changed masters, for the French sailing master who received him on board his ship claimed him as a slave. He had never had a name until on board that ship, when the sailors named him Christophe because of the island he came from, and the name followed him throughout his life. Very shortly, Christophe was taken from the stable and put into the billiard room to keep the score of the planters. It was a better place. The tips were more numerous and larger. The stenchy overalls of the stable boy were exchanged for a white starch coat and shirt. "You look much nicer," commented Marie-Louise. "Thank you," returned Christophe. "I feel nicer, and I'm thankful to you for the advancement. For I suppose it was your influence that obtained it for me. My father ought to be willing to do something for his daughter," was the only comment of Marie-Louise. The change was an education to Christophe, and the role of teacher changed from Marie-Louise to the first. The planters talked over their billiards and their wine, and the longer they played and the more they drank, the more they talked. They said things not intended for the ears of slaves. The wine loosened their tongues and blurred their intellects. Christophe listened with amazement, and then coolly digested what they said, and within the short tropic twilight, told what had been said, with his disgusted reflections to Marie-Louise. It was as new to her as to Christophe. First it amazed her, as it had her lover. Then she cogitated upon it. Then it was that Christophe became the teacher. What he had heard the planters say was that Saint-Domingue was a powder barrel and liable to explode at any moment. There were, they said, 20,000 planters with 500,000 black slaves, and between them were 24,000 people who were neither white or black, and the three classes were opposed to each other. If the slaves ever found the power of numbers, it would be the death to the whites. Also, if the jealousy of the mulattoes increased to the boiling point so they could join the blacks, the boiling would become fiercer, but they were so jealous that they would not unite. Marie-Louise listened and thought as she listened to Christophe. There may be a revolution, she said. A black kingdom may take the place of a white one. It will mean bloodshed, said Christophe. Oh, I hope not, said the gentle Marie-Louise. Vincent OJ, the mulatto, had been to France in the interest of the mulattoes, and he had his bones broken on a rack in the public square, together with those of Chauvin, the friend of Christophe. This was too much for the blacks, and they started an insurrection. Christophe kissed his wife and started for the mountains to join it. The insurrection was not a success, and they saw the head of their leader paraded on the point of a pike through the streets of Cap Français as a warning. Now, when they say that the leader's head was paraded on a pike, I believe they're talking about Dutty Boukman, who was killed by the French colonial authorities in fall of 1791. Now let's continue. As a result, Toussaint and his runaway slaves crossed over the border to the Spanish end of the island from when they fought the French end. But Toussaint could not be a Spaniard. His sympathies lay with France, who had declared that all men were free. So he again led French forces and became Governor General of Saint-Domingue and reunited all the warring factions, so the French flag floated over the entire island. But it had taken 7 years of savage war to do this. Christophe, who had been his lieutenant, had risen to the rank and dignity of a general of France. And under the government of Toussaint, he was made commander of Cap Français and the surrounding area. He built a magnificent mansion in the city and furnished it with the most exquisite furnishing that could be bought in Paris. Then he inducted Marie-Louise into it as mistress. She walked through the rooms in awe. "Oh, Henry," was all she could say. "This is for the queen your father said you should be," he replied. "Your taste in reading and teaching is reflected here. Without it, I could not have produced it. You deserve all that I can give. Enter and share my joy." Man, listen, man, that Christophe was smooth with it, man. That boy Christophe was smooth with it, man. Listen, I'm telling you, let's continue. One morning, a rumor came to Christophe's house. Outside the bay was a war fleet, 22 sail with the tricolor of France at the prow, of each headed for the harbor. Such an armament could mean but one thing. That nation had come to claim her lost province by the force of arms if necessary. He must make ready to meet them, force against force, if that were to be the ultimatum. He went to his own room, his and Marie-Louise's, and sent for her. When she came in, it needed no second glance to tell her the trouble that brewed. She flew into his arms. "Henry, what is it?" "We are in trouble," he answered, "but be brave, my queen." She snuggled in his arms, looking up at his face, and as she did not speak, he continued, "Could you leave this beautiful place and live in a thatched hut?" "Would you be with me?" she countered. "If you would be there, the place would make no difference. But why do you ask such a question? What has happened?" 22 warships lie off the harbor. Their coming can mean but one thing. I have not many troops at my disposal, and it would be some days before I could get reinforcements. Therefore, we shall have to prepare for the worst. "And have you got to stay and fight those horrid Frenchmen? Why can't we both fly?" "I can't give up without a fight." "I will stay with you, fight with you." "No, my dear, you must fly, if necessary, with the babies, and I will come to you. Do you realize that if I fight this fleet, I shall no longer be a general of France, but I will be a rebel?" Marie-Louise fingered his coat and was silent for a moment, then looked at the floor, but only for a moment did her eyes rest there. Then they met those of her husband, and her arms went around his neck. "That makes no difference with me. You are mine, and I can love a rebel as well as I love the slave and a general." Now, let's talk about Christophe's firstborn son, right? Francois Ferdinand Christophe. I believe he was born in 1794, if I'm not mistaken. Take a look up on the screen. When he was the appropriate age, Christophe started making plans for Francois Ferdinand's education. He wanted his son to be a military man like he was. As a young boy, Francois Ferdinand was sent by his father to France, to Paris, where Christophe hoped that his son would receive a sturdy military education. Instead, the Parisians, freshly defeated by the Haitian armies led by Christophe in numerous battles, took Francois Ferdinand out of school and made him a hostage. Christophe, learning of the situation, demanded explanations. The French promised that his son would receive a liberal education. Instead, they placed Francois Ferdinand in an orphan's asylum in Paris. On October 7, 1805, the 11-year-old boy died at the Orphans' Hospital of Paris. The circumstances of his death and his burial place are unknown. Even after Christophe became king of Haiti, he remained heartbroken because of his son's death. His official historian, forced to make constant references to the boy's lonely death in France, referred to Francois Ferdinand with the title of Prince, though he was never entitled to use it during his lifetime. Now, unfortunately, Christophe, similar to like Toussaint Louverture, they sent their sons to France to be educated. This was back when they were part of the French military, right? Now, of course, later down the line, they switched sides and took up arms against France. And when they took up arms against France, that is when the French began to use their children as collateral, basically saying, listen, we got possession of your son. So, you better, better do what we say. You better get in line because we got your son. And Christophe, being the honorable black man that he was, even if you got his son held hostage, he's still going to stand on business. He's still going to stand on principle. So the French killed an innocent 11-year-old black child. Let's continue. Now, let's talk about Christophe's second born son, his youngest child. Take a look up on the screen. Jacques-Victor Henri, Prince Royal of Haiti, born on the 3rd of March, 1804, was the heir apparent to the throne of the Kingdom of Haiti. Jacques-Victor was the youngest child of Christophe, who was then a general in the Haitian army, by his wife, Marie-Louise. His father became president of the state of Haiti in 1807, and on March 28, 1811, he was proclaimed king of Haiti. The Prince Royal had two older brothers who both died before the proclamation of the kingdom. So he became the heir apparent with the title of Prince Royal of Haiti, which came with the style of Royal Highness. Following the death of his father on October 8, 1820, the Prince Royal should have been proclaimed as King Henry II of Haiti, but the country was already in turmoil and he never had a chance. 10 days later, he was murdered after being bayoneted by revolutionaries at the They were not revolutionaries. Once again, they were not revolutionaries. They were traitors who were supported and backed by the Southern Republic of Haiti, the rival government of the South, the Southern Mulatto Republic of the South. Okay, those so-called those rebels, they were not revolutionaries. They were traitors. They were traitors who destroyed the kingdom. They destroyed the kingdom and established a republic. Okay. Like I said, go to my playlist section if you want to learn about the luxury and the productivity and the amazingness and the grandeur and the productivity of the Kingdom of Haiti, right? Listen, I got endless videos in my playlist section, endless information on the Kingdom of Haiti. If you want to learn about that, if you want to understand the type of government that Christophe established, the level of prosperity that Christophe established, go learn about it, man. Go learn about it. I hate the fact that they called them revolution. They were not revolutionaries, okay? They were not. They were not. They were not. The men who took up arms against Christophe were not revolutionaries, okay? They were traitors who allied with the rival government. And after Christophe died and the mulattoes of the South took power, they were the ones who agreed to sign reparations, to agree to pay reparations to France. Like I said before, man, I got videos on that, man. When Christophe was in power, he wasn't paying a dime, man. And France didn't want no smoke either. You seen Christophe had that military fortress, that citadel sitting 3,000 feet above the sea with cannons facing in every direction, hundreds of cannons, thousands of cannonballs, modern artillery at the time. Listen, ain't nobody invaded the territory when Christophe was in power. But when Christophe died, man, listen, everything collapsed after Christophe died, man. I'm telling you, when Christophe died, one of the worst things to ever happen to black men ever. Let's continue. After the death of the king in 1820, Marie-Louise remained with her daughters, Améthyste and Athénaïre, at the palace until they were escorted from it by his followers together with his corpse. The queen was in exile for 30 years. In August 1821, Marie-Louise left Haiti with her daughters under the protection of British Admiral Sir Holmriggs Popham and traveled to London. There were rumors that she was searching for the money, $3 million, deposited by her spouse in Europe. Whatever the case, she did live the rest of her life without economic difficulties. In England, they lived in Blackheath, where they were welcomed by prominent abolitionists, and then moved to 49 Weymouth Street, London, where she lived between 1821 and 1824. In October 1822, she took up residence in Hastings at what is now 5 Exmouth Place with her daughters, who, like many wealthy and aristocratic Londoners who wanted to escape the smog and bustle of central London, in 2022, blue plaques honoring the Queen's time in London were erected and celebrated. The English climate and pollution during the Industrial Revolution was detrimental to Amethyst's health, and eventually they decided to leave. In 1824, Marie-Louise and her daughters moved to Pisa in Italy, where they lived for the rest of their lives. Now, I will say Christophe's wife, Marie-Louise Quadavid, I will say that she was definitely one of the most fortunate black women living during the colonial period. I mean, you got to understand, her father was a free man who owned a hotel, was engaging in high-level commerce, afforded her a privileged life, and then she ended up marrying a man who became, general and then became king, bro, you know what I mean? Then she lived the rest of her life in luxury and without a care in the world, lived her entire life, lived a good life her entire life, during the 1700s, 1800s, man, Tell you, we got to make a movie, man. We got to make several movies about the Haitian Revolution, man. Not just one movie. We need like a 3-part movie. We need a movie on Dessalines by himself. Then we need a movie on Toussaint by himself. And then we need a movie on Christophe, by himself. Anyway, let's continue. I believe this is somewhere in Italy. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is her burial place because the Queen of Haiti was actually buried in Italy. She died in exile. And it says this. Take a look up on the screen. This is the residence where Marie-Louise Christophe, the Queen Consort of Haiti, spent the last years of her life. Haiti was the first country in the world to abolish slavery and racial differences. Marie-Louise took the path of exile with her daughters, Françoise Améthyste and Nathanaël, and their servant, Zéphyrin. She chose to settle in Pisa in 1824, leading a reserved but dignified life. After her daughters died, Marie-Louise's sister, Geneviève Pierrot, arrived in Pisa, hoping to travel together back to Haiti. This wish did not come true, and the Christophs rest in the Church of San Domino. Zéphyrin was buried in the suburban cemetery of Pisa. Okay, so I was wrong. That was not her burial place. That was actually her residence where she lived. Actually, I believe this is actually the commemoration at her burial place. Take a look up on the screen. Let's read it together. Marie-Louise Christophe, born 1778 to 1851, Queen Consort of Haiti and the first Afro-descendant female head of state on the American continent, is buried in this church. Haiti was the first country in the world to abolish slavery and racial differences. With her daughters, Françoise Améthyste and Nathanaël, and their servant Zéphyrin, Marie-Louise chose Pisa for her home after spending some years in England. The Christophs never saw their homeland again and are buried in the Chapel of the Sacred Heart. Their last residence is in Piazza Carrara 13. So yeah, man. Anyways, I just wanted to make this cool little video. We talk about the wives and the children of the Haitian revolutionaries. We never talk about them. We talk about the brothers all day, but we never talk about the lovely ladies, the beautiful women, the beautiful black women they had on their arms. We got to talk about them. You know what I mean? We never talk about their kids. They had a lot of them. They had a whole bunch of them. And even though we only mentioned 3 of Christophe's kids, those were his official kids because they were given birth by his wife. But, Christophe, king of Haiti, listen, yeah, trust me. He had a lot of kids too. But they were not the legitimate heirs to the throne, though. So they don't get mentioned in the official documents. He had another kid named Prince Eugene with another lady. He had another kid with some other lady who gave birth to a lady named Blaisine Georges, and Blaisine Georges gave birth to his grandson named Pierre Alexis, who became president of Haiti a little over 100 years ago. So yeah, but anyways, man, it's your boy Jean-Jacques Dessalines back in the building. Yes indeed, Cash App in the description. Support the album, man. Support the album. Peace.
No. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders, that could never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife, yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word and it's bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I'm eating no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Back in my city, they loving me. Standing alone, I'm 100 deep. Enemy plotting is still in reach. They try to make sure that we underneath. Trying to make sure that we never make it. Coming for power, come get acquainted. Coming for everything that I wanted. Feeling like Drake, but I really wrote it. Feeling like Kendrick, I'm checking names. Gotta roll up while I go insane. Got so much stress, I've been gated weight. Stuffing these racks in this Louis case. One thing for certain, I'm about to check. Keep it 100 and nothing less. Stick with the family since day one. Had to stay down till my day come. Had to stay down, but I'm never patient. Hop on the mic and I'm motivated. Hop on the mic and I drive a classic. Haters can't see me, they copping glasses. Back in the studio making magic. Got a new tape and it's in production. Back on my business, I got a budget. Staying low key when I'm out in public. Feel like I'm 75. None of your team be full of them traders, you know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wifey and hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news.